This is the DoD Power Platform Skills Challenge. Our challenge will be kicking off on July 11th and run through August 10th. Well, what does that mean? The business applications team has come together to design a learning challenge for the Department of Defense that will give you the opportunity to develop your skill set as well as engage with other users within the DoD community. And so as part of that, we also have our DoD Power Hour call that you may have been a part of or even ask the experts. If you have not been a part of those calls, I highly suggest you get involved and join those calls. There's a lot of information being shared that really encourage collaboration as well as gaining new knowledge while on those calls. When we talk about skills challenge, people are the heart of every organization, especially within the DoD. Anything is possible. We want to be able to give you, if you are not on mute, please be sure to mute yourself. Anything is possible, and we want to be able to give everybody the tools, the support, and the environment that they need to learn and to grow. And so learning is a key part of our culture, and we want to be able to provide the same cultural influence with you. So we're investing in our customers and partners to help them accelerate their own transformation in terms of learning. And so not only does transformation take vision and strategic planning, but it also gives people the skills that they need to be successful. Then this quest for innovation, for growth, and talent is often what determines how quickly organizations within the DoD can achieve their mission objective. By investing in the skilling of your employees, you're reducing the stress, but also help them save time and not having to constantly look up documentation. If you think about the situation where it's like, oh, I need to find that answer because I really don't know it. And by investing in their skilling, you're able to, one, increase their knowledge, two, increase their skill set, but three, instead of having to constantly go back and reference the information, they'll have it immediately at their fingertips through the learning content that's been provided. So what is a Cloud Skills Challenge? Essentially, our Cloud Skills Challenge program it's a learning challenge that's integrated with Microsoft Learn. I've created these skills paths, you'll see here in a moment, to truly meet you where you are in your learning journey. If you are a beginner, I've created a learning path that goes from beginner all the way up through developer. And that beginner skill set starts in, I don't know anything about the Power Platform. How do I get started? Well, the beginner skill path will provide that for you. In the long run, at the end of the challenge, we have a leaderboard, and that leaderboard will essentially set up each branch of service against themselves to compete for, we'll say, bragging rights, if you will. There's no physical reward, obviously, because this is the DoD. But bragging rights is definitely a big deal. So those types of bragging rights is, from a leaderboard perspective, we have Air Force, Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Space Force, Joint DoD, as well as Fourth Estate. So if you notice when you registered for this webinar today, you kind of set up where you were in terms from a branch of service perspective. When you go to register, and I'll show that slide momentarily, when you go to register, you'll essentially say what team you want to be a part of, and that team will be your branch of service. From a learning path aspect, you'll notice that we have fundamentals, app maker, functional consultant, and developer. The activation for registration will not be available until July 11th. That being said, we will have a kickoff call on July 11th, the date of the start of the challenge. And that kickoff call, if you connected through this webinar from the LinkedIn profile, my LinkedIn profile and the share, there will be a new share that will go out with the next webinar for that kickoff. Otherwise, if you follow the links that are available through the click paths here for fundamental, app maker, functional consultant, or developer, if you were to click on either one of these, that will take you to the appropriate registration site. Following this call, I'll also be providing the slide deck, which will also have direct links. We've had issues where within DoD, some of the, what we call the AKA, it's our redirector, the AKA links were not working. or resolving. So I've gone ahead and I've actually fixed a lot of those issues within the context of this deck. And also I'll be publishing them out on LinkedIn and through a share of this video through social media. And so the paths here: fundamentals, app maker, functional consultant, developer. We've talked about the kind of like, I'm new to Power Platform, Power Apps, building automations. How do I get started? That's where the fundamentals learning path comes into play. And the great thing about each of these learning paths is that they all apply to the exam structure for the Power Platform, whether or not we're talking about Power Platform fundamentals, Power Platform app maker, functional consultant, and developer. Each of those learning paths directly map out to the requirements that are in each of those exams. Why is that important? Well, as you complete each of these learning paths, you then can go to the Learning Experience portal, and you'll be able to access the resources there to receive an exam voucher that will give you the ability to go ahead and take the exam and get certified. Continue on these learning paths: intermediate, app maker. If you feel a little bit more comfortable, again, if you're not on mute, please do place yourself on mute. Enterprise Skills Initiative. Thank you, Mr. Sondolan. That's ESI. But if you're familiar with the Power Platform, but you want to get a little bit more in depth into building those applications, customizing flows, that's where you move into app maker and functional consultant. So as we move through these slides here, going from the beginning, Power Platform fundamentals, these are some of the capabilities or these skills that you learn through these challenges. Being able to automate some of your business processes, applying structure within the process flow of your applications, as well as mapping that out to your existing internal processes. Moving on to app makers, this is where you're really understanding the components of the Dataverse and connecting to those components within your applications. Beyond that, you can also start getting into a little bit more of a governance application using the Center of Excellence toolkit that you can then understand how your applications function, but also who's using them, who can have access to them, and then govern that access within your applications. And then lastly, taking that data and surfacing that up into some visualizations within Power BI and really understanding the context of your data, but also making intelligent business decisions. From there, we go into functional consultant. This is a little bit more of, hey, I can build the applications, but let me take a step back. Let me understand what the business challenges are, and then develop solutions to those challenges. And the development side of that is very architectural, understanding what are we connecting to, how do we want the back-end components of the application to work, and then developing standards on top of those, or layering standards on top of those applications to ensure that we are compliant with DoD protocol. And then lastly, from a development perspective, this is where we're getting very deep into the application functionality. We're talking about data customizations, configurations, conversions, calculations, connecting into other data points, data sources, integrations, and then lastly, applying that from an implementation perspective through the whole gamut of the entire platform. Common questions that were being asked are, how do we get started? If you haven't received an email, I will be sending a follow-up email from your registration of this session. And that follow-up email will include additional links, content, as well as, again, this slide deck. But if you haven't already done so, please go to docs.microsoft.com/learn. You should be able to click on it from this slide. And when you go there to log in, there may have been some previous instruction to log in with your .mil email address. You'll actually want to create or sign in with a Microsoft account. And registering for a Microsoft account, that'd be like if you go to outlook.com to go to sign in, or if you have a live account with Xbox, that would be your Microsoft or MSA account. And so by logging in there, you'll log in there first. And then once you've logged in, and you're on the Learn portal, you are able to go to your Learn profile and connect your .mil email account to that profile. That's important because let's say you were to leave your current role and you no longer have that .mil email address. Well, your learner profile will then be able to follow you from, hey, I was once working in the military domain or within DoD. Now I've moved on to the civilian sector, and I'm now working outside of DoD. Well, you still want to be able to carry along your credentials and your learning profile as you move on. So that connection is definitely severed if you were to leave DoD and that email were to be disabled. But the primary profile that you have from an MSA perspective still carries along with you. And then from there, once you've registered, choose your challenge path on July 11th. That challenge path, again, going back to that previous slide, fundamentals, app maker, functional consultant, and developer. You're welcome to click into those and kind of take a look to see what's there. Feel free to register for all of them, but definitely start where you are in your current skills journey. That's most important. If you aren't really familiar and then you try to get ahead, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you. I won't say impossible, but it'll be challenging to pick up on the additional skills that you wouldn't have picked up on the earlier paths, such as like fundamentals at the beginning. And lastly, win. I know where my vote is, but I'm not going to say who it's for. This is going to be a fun time. I'm looking forward to engaging with all of you as a user community and really getting some activity behind this learning. Also, just note, if you don't join on July 11th, that's okay. Others, I mean, you can join at any point during the Skills Challenge series. Again, this one's going to be running 1 month. If this goes well, I plan to do a lot more. This is kind of a trial one. So thank you for being our guinea pigs here. And I definitely would like to continue to do this more and really engage the user community and within the DoD, especially when there's a kind of a separation between what we have in DoD and commercial, not only functionally, but from a feature parity perspective, but also there's some nuances that we see within DoD that are not very common within the commercial environments. I want to be able to encourage that collaboration, develop some community, and get people connected. That's pretty much all I have at this point. There will be a follow-up email following this call that I'll be sending off with all the direct links as well as the slide deck. Thank you so much for joining today, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care, everybody.